Hey, good morning on this Friday, July the 11th, 2025. Hey, had my talk, my daily morning conversation, with the Most High, with Yahuwah, and he put in my spirit to just do a video concerning concerning this here about people and the ancestors. Um, a lot of people say, my ancestors, they don't play about me. My ancestors gonna seek revenge on one's behalf. And, I saw my grandmother last night. She came to my bed, or I seen this loved one, that loved one. And I'm here to tell you, and what you in fact are witnessing, far as seeing the dead, is actually is not who you think it is. It's the adversary in disguise, disguised as your loved one. Playing on your emotions, not to dismiss your love or your emotions for your deceased loved one, but that's the adversary, that's the enemy playing on your emotions, and you're seeing what looks like your loved one, but in actuality, it's demonic. It's a demon. You know, uh, a lot of this could be debunked and corrected if we would just read. And a lot of people, they don't read the word, right? I'm gonna read for you some scriptures concerning the state of your deceased loved one, which would debunk a lot of things here. Uh, First Thessalonians chapter 4. I'm gonna read 13 through 17. We do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, concerning those who are asleep. I'm gonna pause right here. In the Bible, a lot of times they refer to being asleep as being unalived. You know, it goes hand in hand. So when you see asleep, that's them saying that the person is no longer with us, no longer breathe our air. Okay. Concerning those who are asleep, so that you will not grieve like the rest who have no hope. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, in the same way through Yahushua, Yah will bring with him those who have fallen asleep. For we say this to you by a word from Yahuwah. We who are still alive at Yahuwah's coming will certainly not precede those who have fallen asleep. For Yahuwah himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the archangel's voice, and with the trumpet of Yah, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are still alive, who are left, will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Yahuwah in the air. Okay. Now I did a video concerning the whole we in the terror, and where I read where it says those who are left. And that's indicating that there's a group of people that's no longer with us. And it already emphasized or pointing out the dead. So it's not talking about the dead, and it's not talking about the people that is left. It's talking about the people that didn't keep the laws and the commandments, the people that were taken away by the adversary to their damnation, to their eternal hell, if you will. And that whole story on the wheat and the tare, it debunks the fictional story concerning the rapture. Um, to sum that up, it's like they had it backwards. The Bible believing, the law abiding, law keeping commandments, those people, they will be left behind. And the other people, they the ones that we so called taken away, raptured to go to a place that hell. But just read the story in the wheat and terror, and it will let you know. All right. Um, Leviticus chapter 19 verses 26. You are not to practice witchcraft. I know in my family, I think my grandmother comes to mind, and I know a lot of you all's families and whatnot, grandmothers have this same mentality, that whole. And I always use the movie The Wizard of Oz, where you have when Glinda, I think her name is, the Good Witch, and it's basically indicating that you could use witchcraft as long as you're using it for good. And the Bible speaks against witchcraft however you're using it. You're not to use witchcraft at all. But they have this notion where if someone did you wrong, first of all, we're not, I'm going to go further into it. We're not supposed to be seeking revenge. Yahuwah says vengeance is his. But people feel as though if someone did them wrong, the way to get back is to pay evil for evil. And the Bible speaks against that. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7 have nothing to do with wise tales, silly myths, superstitious beliefs. We were passed down a lot of things that aren't true, a lot of lies. And I'm using the word lie, but lie would indicate that almost like the person intended on misguiding you, what have you, and it wasn't the case. Think back, and I'm gonna get more into this. I skipped, I went down to my other thing. I'm sorry, y'all. That's a whole nother lesson, but we'll talk about the lies thing. I went all the way down. I skipped the whole thing on that. I apologize. I'm not gonna start this back over, and we're gonna touch on that in the second half about the lies thing. But yeah, a lot of our families was just lied to, or misinformed, I should say, and they in turn spread it, that foolishness. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, I'm going to read verses 18 and then 51 to 52. So verses 18, and it says, those then who have fallen asleep in Christ have also perished. So it's saying the people that perished, that are no longer breathe our air, they are asleep. They're in a sleep state. So you couldn't possibly see your grandmother by your bedside if she's asleep. Your ancestors aren't warring on your behalf if they are asleep. Okay? That is not happening. And a simple reading of the word would explain this to you and let you know that that's not the case. Now I'm going to read verses 51 to 52, 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Okay, and it says here, listen, I'm telling you in mystery, we will not all fall asleep, but we will all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised. Okay? So this whole thing where, oh, I know mama up in heaven just kicking it, doing this, that. Oh, I know dad up there doing this, that. No, mom and daddy is asleep in the grave. And right here indicating if they were law abiding, follow the commandments, walk the narrow road, live for Yahushua HaMashiach, then second coming, they will be raised. And then we who are here still alive will meet Yahuwah in the air. All right. And then the ones that are going to hellbound during that time, also they're going to make an exit. They're going to hell. So they're not in heaven already. So this whole debunk, they up in the sky somewhere, that's not the case. All right. John chapter 11 and verses 11 through 14, it just speaks on Lazarus and how Lazarus, those days that he was asleep and he was unalive. He was not breathing out air, dead. But they described it as being asleep. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 5, the dead knows nothing, further supporting the idea of unconsciousness in death. So it says the dead know nothing. The dead is asleep. Okay? So stop this whole myth that, your ancestors are warring on your behalf and you saw this loved one. And nah, if you just read the word will tell you otherwise. That's not the case. All right? All right. Now stay tuned for part 2. And that's when I go into the whole about the myths and the witchcraft stuff. All right. All right.